Please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the four-way test. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hold on a moment. Okay, here we go. Pay no attention to the woman behind the microphone. No, let's repeat the four-way test. Of the things we think, say, or do, number one, is it the truth? Number two, is it fair to all concerned? Number three, will it build goodwill and better friendships? And number four, will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thank you. We should sing the national anthem, but we should not sing with me up here. Miss Sherry, would you start us from where you're at? Okay. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleam, whose bright stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets spread fair, love bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave. And please welcome Sharon Hamilton, who will give us our invocation. Hi. Oh my gosh, it's just so good to see everyone. I can't stand it. I was not here last week, so this is my first week looking at all your beautiful faces. I have been spending time at Chautauqua because I'm involved at the Lutheran House, and it's very exciting to see Chautauqua getting ready after a barren season last year. And so anyway, I have this book. It's Prayers from Chautauqua. And this is by Joan Brown Campbell, and I have selected a prayer that I thought was appropriate for us today. Let us pray. Creator God, surprise us with your presence, O God. Renew our sense of wonder. Give us energy and courage to live as your people in the world. In an incredibly insecure and uncertain world, we thank you, God, for the surprise of our security and serenity, for the gift of our abundance, for the beauty that surrounds us. How do we say thank you? We are your blessed people, the gifted and the strong. Open our hearts that we might surprise ourselves with generosity of spirit and boundless affection, even for those we do not know. We who have the capacity to make dreams a reality, grant us the courage to create a future of hope, not only for ourselves, but for those unknown to us. Let us live beyond the boundaries of limited imagination. Surprise us with your presence, O God. Renew our sense of wonder. Give us energy and courage to live as your people in this world. Amen. Amen. Thank you, Sharon. President-elect, I can't remember what to call it. President-elect Kevin is going to come up and welcome our visiting Rotarians and guests.
So I know we have two guests with us today. We have on the Zoom call, we have District Governor Frank Adamson and Assistant District Governor Michelle, sorry. Any other guests that we need to introduce today? I don't see them. We're good. Enjoy.
And so I'm going to turn it over now to Governor Frank, because he said he wanted to talk to us about something. I didn't do it, which is very possible. I didn't do it.
I know. Thank you, President Joni, and it's wonderful to be with you. I wish I was actually with you in person, but as you all know, the border's still closed. We're getting there with COVID. I'm happy to say that I've had my first injection and for the vaccine, and I'm getting my second one. It was supposed to be 4 months from the first, but I'm actually getting it this Saturday, so we're getting closer. Hopefully the bridge is going to be open soon. This will be my last visit with you as governor, so I've had the opportunity to join you virtually 2 or 3 times now, and I just wanted to thank you all for your hospitality. I wanted to thank you all for all the good work you continue to do for Rotary, both in your community and globally. And yeah, this pandemic is going to get behind us, and I just want to talk to you about your goals. I talked to or emailed Joni in regards to this. You folks have set goals, and basically there's absolutely no reason why you folks can't receive the Rotarian citation for your accomplishments. All you have to do is enter those. So Joni's aware of that, and hopefully that's going to happen. And I can tell you, you got a little bit of competition with the with your sister club, with your breakfast club. They actually are pretty much there with submitting all of their goals. And what I would like to do, a bit of a challenge, but if you've received the Rotary citation, and Greater Jamestown does as well, and I think they will, and maybe Faulkner, I will definitely, when I receive that, bring it to Jamestown personally for a meeting. And what I'm proposing is basically a joint meeting of your club, Greater Jamestown, and Faulkner, and maybe I can bring Ann Birmingham with me. So that's my challenge to all of you. So Joni, thank you again to all the members of your club. Thank you so much for everything that you do and have done for Rotary, and for your support of me over the year. Thanks so much. Back to you.
Thank you, Frank. Michelle, did you want to do something, say something, dance, sing, whatever?
So this is typically something that is given to the clubs in the beginning in the fall when the district governor comes personally. It was shipped from Canada to past district governor Bob Artis. Past district DG Bob ended up sending it to me through the mail. It was very heavy. However, it was the wrong zip code. So it traveled throughout the United States for a good 3 months. And finally, I think it was 2 months ago, made it to me personally at my home address. So this is the banner flag for our Rotary year, which is of course ending, but certainly Rotary did open opportunities this year to each and every one of us, as well as to all the communities that we served. This is President Joni's binder. And
it's homework?
No homework, just you can put all your mementos from this crazy COVID Rotary year.
It won't fit.
And then pins for each and every one of you.
Wow.
So there you go.
Lovely.
And
show the eyeball people.
Oh, yeah. I was holding out hope that I would be able to actually do this in person. There was one other time that Joni and I had kind of collaborated, and I was going to make a surprise entry through a Zoom meeting, and then the date just didn't work out for us. But on behalf of all the communities that you, service projects you have done, your dedication to the foundation, great big thank you to President Joni, past President Sherry, and President-elect, who's going to be president very soon, Kevin. So thank you again all so much. And this is great to see people in person as well as hybrid. Thank you again.
Thank you, Michelle. I'm going to switch the camera here. Hold on. Unfortunately, you all get to look at me.
but I won't be here for long. All right, I'd like to recognize our Rotary Yours reporter today, and I'm guessing it's Ruth Lundeen. Yay, thank you. That communications committee has been the glue that's held us together online this whole year, so thank you so much. Committee chair announcements from anyone? Yes, Diana. Yeah, the box is on the smartboard. Can't hear you. You're in front of it.
The Literacy Committee is about to embark on our next project, which we participated in last year, which is the Jamestown Public Schools LEAP program. And last year, we were hoping to volunteer at 2 schools, 2 mornings a week. But this year, you know, I'm a bit hesitant to sign up for 2 schools. So we're going to start out with 1, but we are going to be looking for volunteers. You do need to wear a mask, but it will be in person. I went ahead and contacted Love School. So we'll be at Love School, and it's through the months of July and August. So it's coming up pretty quickly. And I'm going to be asking one of the committee members if they can send out a, you know, a sign-up sheet like we do for the kettle and for interviews and that sort of thing. So it will be through the month of July and August. The time slots are going to be half-hour, but I encourage you, if you have time, to sign up, you know, back to back. You know, sign up for an hour. You'll be in one classroom for 30 minutes, and then they may have you move to another classroom for 30 minutes. There is a reading specialist there who coordinates the summer reading program, and the reading program goes from 9 to noon. So we'll be signing up for Tuesdays and Thursday mornings at Love School. So look for that in the near future. And, you know, we've always had fun with PARP, so it's kind of similar to PARP. Yes?
Yeah, I was going to say, did you tell us a little bit about what volunteers will be doing?
Yes, yes, thank you. Thank you. Volunteers will basically be doing what you did for PARP in the past up at Bush School. And that is, you'll go to the office, sign in. As I said, you need to wear a mask. Everyone will be masked in the school. And then you'll be sent to a classroom, and you will either, I believe you'll have the option if you'd like to do one-on reading with one student, or if you'd like to read to a group. And the groups are limited in size. I can't recall for sure, but I believe they're limiting the size of the groups to 6 to 8. I can't remember for sure. So you'll be able to do that. This is all elementary. I was also hoping to have volunteers for Fletcher School the same time period. They are going to have middle school students at Fletcher as well as elementary. So that would have been more of an opportunity for us to talk a bit about our vocations. But that is always a possibility too when you introduce yourself, if you want to take a minute to talk about, you know, where you work and ask if anybody has questions. Any other questions? Okay. Could I just, you know, have a visual show of hands, apart from the literacy committee, of people that think they would be able to volunteer? So raise your hands just so I have a general idea. Yeah, the literacy committee is in for sure, but okay. All right, thank you very much.
As I come to the end of my year, I am so grateful for Diana and the work the Literacy Committee has done, especially the email she sent out over the weekend. It lists everything they've done this year. I'm like, that's perfect for what I need it for. Makes my job a little easier. All right, so I know I'm cutting my head off, but it's really not a loss. All right. Any other committee chair announcements? Not seeing any. Rotary Board of Directors meeting is this Friday at 9 o'clock via Zoom. And we are having our presidential transition dinner here on the 28th at 6 o'clock. And it will be a fundraiser along with the dinner. So Chris will be putting that information up on our website so you can pay online, or you can pay next week, and you know, in the next 2 weeks. So I'll be sending out more information about that. Any questions about that? All right. Golf tournament, remember, register your teams by the middle of August, or you can't play. Talk to Mike Bird or any member of the committee. Any of the members of the committee here? Raise your hand. No, must be all out golfing, although it's raining. So let's give a hand to our Sergeant at Arms, Doug Conroe. And get ready for your happy days. Oh, we need.
This is empty, but I know you want to fill it, don't you? Yes. Weather was great last week, and I thought people would come out of hibernation. But the newspaper did not indicate that they did. So I'm going to have to stretch today, people, and that's always a painful day when I do that. But there was one newspaper article of note that I think we have a business manager, president of a local foundation, that was involved in a $4.5 million project that was noted as coming to completion down at the corner of 3rd and Ice Arena. So thank you, congratulations. Yeah, good day to have the boss visit. Yeah. And then we can't let last week go too far away, and I'm sure David wants to recognize that we had, what, 1,500 people at the opener for the Tarp Skunks? Oh, really good people. And, last on the specifics, but certainly not least, I hope everyone is wearing their badge as they should so that we all know each other. Aren't we, Tori? Might there be any other absentee badges that would like to chip into the pot? David, oh, thank you. By golly, look at everybody. So those are the specific things. Now the non-specific things, Today has a couple of days of note. Tim tells me it's National Bourbon Day. And I don't know how I missed that. But what else is June 14th? Flag Day. Okay, we're getting there. So when was the flag officially adopted and by whom? Becky, your table is very knowledgeable. The flag. On this date, in 17 something, what is that something? The X adopted the flag, the Stars and Stripes. You fill in the blank. The year was 17 something. And the group adopting it was, yes. Which one? No, Jim, which one? Which Continental Congress? Wrong. And I heard him tell you at the table that it's the Second Continental Congress. 1777, Second Continental Congress. And then in August of what year, Congress passed an act to officially acknowledge it. So the Continental Congress did it 1777. What year do you think our Congress, known for speed of debate, pass the adoption. And I'll give you a clue, it's between 1930 and 1950. Andy, you're looking knowledgeable.
Yeah.
'49. So always ever present. So anyway, so there's some other things that happened today. In 1642, the first compulsory education law was passed in the state of Massachusetts, in the country, in the state of Massachusetts. You kept the tape. Good, good, good. Thank you. So I'll throw that in without cost. Okay. And Tim, music guru.
Today is National Bourbon Day.
Good. Who graduated on this date in 1953 from L.C. Humes High School?
Robert Plant.
Elvis. So if we have any happy bucks, come on up, but thank you. You can come up too, Tim. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I'm glad I'm not the only happy one. Uh-oh. Okay, I'll leave it there. The BPU kicked off our 22nd annual Sons for St. Susan's campaign last week. So I wanted to thank a couple of our members, our major sponsors, including National Fuel, Northwest, Weinberg Financial Group, and the Post-Journal. And so that's what I'm giving.
Okay, so I just emptied my wallet. I have 10 happy dollars, and they are for a variety of things. The first of which is that last week, right after I got done talking with all of you about Give Big, the community came forward with $365,000 in 24 hours for 119 not-for-profits. And some of them raised $19,000 and some of them raised a few hundred, but everyone is better off for it. So thank you for all of you who participated and spread the word. And then this weekend, well, starting with last Thursday and Give Big and then going to the ballpark where there was live music. I don't know about you, but I have missed live music and I didn't even know that I did until I heard it. Going into the weekend and being downtown on Saturday where it was a happening place. I mean, there were no more things to be purchased at the public market by the time I got there. And there were lots of things to do. There were people eating outdoors and drinking and having a lovely time. And I also waited in line for about an hour to recycle my electronics from the Community Foundation. So, I mean, it was just like a really great weekend and a good reminder of what life is really like post-COVID.
I don't know a lot of you, but I do know a lot of you. But I'm Joanna Dahlbeck, and I just joined this past COVID season. Hope that's not a permanent season. I'm celebrating because I retired on Saturday.
We were too much for.
I am just delighted to be here with you and to see all of your faces. What a great day for me. And the regular session of the legislature is over, so all of you are slightly more safe.
And if you don't have your pin on, you need to put $1 in. I'm just following up with that. So you can, no, I thought he said pin. No, he said badge. Badge, okay, badge, okay. Okay, go ahead.
I put in $5, so I have an extra one coming. Just in case we have a baseball game tonight, which you can check on by calling down at the office. If you go online and you look for Tarp Skunks, you'll find the phone number. You can check and see, are we playing tonight? Because the weather's a little iffy. but I just want to remind everybody that twice during the season, there's $2 night, and this is one of those nights. So that means getting into the park for $2, buying a beer for $2, getting a hot dog for $2, getting French fries, everything is $2. So that's a great chance to support the team. Thanks.
Please welcome John Lloyd, Program Committee member, and he will introduce our speaker. And please don't trip.
Good afternoon. Our speaker today, I think most of you know, president of the Gebbie Foundation, former county executive, former attorney, not former, Greg Edwards. I've asked Kathy to be the setup person for us here today, but I do have a happy buck. I don't know where the thing went. Had a great weekend. My son got engaged. My oldest daughter was just selected in a competition to be the Buffalo Bills athletic trainer intern for the season. So we have a connection to the Bills. Thank you.
Joni, where's the file?
It's great to, while they're doing that, it's great to be back with Rotarians. I had the pleasure of being one of the folks that founded the AM Club those many years ago, and that was a delightful experience of mine until obligations in the morning took me away from that 7 o'clock start. So it's great to be amongst Rotarians. It's great to hear that 4-week test. I have to tell you, it was on Flag Day. It was also great to stand up and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I think many of us may have been experienced a little bit of fatigue for a lot of the negativity that's been going around and around and around with regard to this great country we live in. But I'm sure there's Rotarians in the world that would do most anything to be able to have a meeting like this and an environment like this with the opportunities that we have in front of us, despite where we were born or where we grew up with the opportunities we have in front of us. I'll give you a little background on the Gebbie Foundation as Kathy finds the file. And I'll just give you a little background on the team. We've got a huge team at the Gebbie Foundation. Our offices are 215 Cherry Street. It's myself, our Chief Financial Officer, Kathy, and our Senior Grants Director, Andrea Magnus. And it's a great team. We call ourselves the Three Musketeers. It's very much a cross-training group because you can imagine if somebody's on a vacation and they're not in there, you got to keep the wheels turning. And I'll also give you a bit of encouragement. Andrea Magnuson, after 12 years, announced that she was going to retire. And she was planning on retiring. It was great notice. We went out to the market to find a new grants director. So we put out the Indeed search. We got a lot of applications, not nearly as much as we did a couple of years ago. But we were able to work our way through that. And we hired a bright young gal by the name of Michaela Sturdo. Michaela, as I learned, from Canada, my hometown. And she was an intern with CCHN when Kathy was working there and had some other experiences. But she's bright, she's motivated, she already knows the grants world. And she got the first week under her belt without any reservation and started her second week today. So she gets a full month working with Andrew working part-time. And those of you who are employers, which you all are, can understand the value in that. Actually, having somebody with 12 years of experience working with a brand new employee that's taking over their job. So I'm thrilled with the seamless that's going to bring to us. Thanks, Ken. Appreciate it. Okay. Right there. Great. The best news is you don't have to look at me. You can look at the screen. But that's Andy. I do feel safe with you in Albany, but I feel safer with the rest of them gone. Just so you know. The Gebbie Foundation, just by way of background, we were formed in 1964 from the estate of the last surviving daughter of the Gebbie family, the nuclear Gebbie family. And we have been incredibly blessed since that 1964 start because it ended up in Jamestown because the lawyer was from Jamestown and the daughter was living on Chautauqua Lake. And so that it began here in Jamestown. It's been here ever since then. I really would like to kind of start you with the strategic focus of the Gebbie Foundation. You can see it in front of you, but just so that you're aware, it's to rejuvenate the downtown Jamestown through economic development, leveraging financial and human resources. No surprise to any of that, but I'd just like you to focus just for a minute that we do that through collaboration, cooperation, and partnership. You know, that's the only way anything good gets done. Gebbie rarely goes it alone. We invest in partnership. We work in partnership with many. We have Tori with her. I'm thrilled to have Tori with us today because she's one of my chief partners out there, and that we try and align the work that we do. We have an $80 million endowment. We grant somewhere in the neighborhood of a little over right about $3.5 million a year, and that's what we've done over the years. And we'll walk a little bit through our history, but I did want you to know that we do all of our work in the background, and it's the beauty of the work that we do. That we're not out there looking for accolades. We don't have to recruit volunteers. We don't have to raise money. So what we can focus on is trying to help good things happen. One of the things that, by way of history, is that at the beginning of our foundation, it was very much a kind of a general approach, following a lot of what the Gebbie family did over the course of their career, investing in a great number of things as we did over our beginning, which included the lead gift for the community foundation, really rescuing Chautauqua Institution when it was in a really bad spot in the 70s, and a variety of other investments, building our lead gift for the RTPI. And some of you might have been down there this past week. What a great event that was, and supporting any number of great opportunities throughout southern Chautauqua County. But in the late 90s, the board of directors really looked at and studied and hired in professionals to come in and determine what was the highest and best use could be for this approximate $3+ million a year that was being invested, since this region is incredibly blessed to have 9 very large foundations for the small population per capita. If you think about the volumes of dollars, that represents about $10 million a year coming out of the Jamestown area from foundations into the quality of life that we have here. So it wouldn't take much to imagine what the quality of life would be like if we didn't have all these foundations working in partnership. But in the late 90s, the board of directors of the Gebbie Foundation really took a step back and said, what is the highest and best use of the dollars that we're able to contribute to the region? And after a great deal of study and analysis, it was determined that economic development and really helping the city of Jamestown, its core urban area, break free of the bonds that it had for many years that many of us have experienced. And the second step after that decision was made was what to do first. And the first decision was, after again, research and analysis by professionals in the field, was the creation of a state-of-the-art 2-pad ice arena, now known as the Northwest Savings Bank Arena. And it has evolved over time to get to the arena part, not just the ice arena. And you saw a little bit of that this weekend in the news with that announcement. It was a $21 million investment. And just in case you weren't here or if you've forgotten, this is what it replaced. This is some pictures from that area of the city. Some of you might remember the ranch. Some developer or some demolition expert has that in their house, I'm sure, somewhere in there, that big white-faced Hereford. But that gives you an idea of what it was, what replaced or what became of that space when the arena went in. And our investments are really done following the original urban design plan, which was adopted as the city's design plan and approach when it was created in the late 1990s when it started, and it really was adopted by the city in 2006. In an effort to try and really see that urban design plan was something other than just a plan, the Gebbie Foundation formed what's known as the Jamestown Renaissance Corporation, really to be the entity working every day with its mission of implementing that urban design plan. And that first urban design plan was so successful that it actually was entered into and won a national competition for implementation. And that's a wonderful thing when you can have a quality plan like that really be recognized for implementation, because we've all seen too many that didn't follow through, but that one really did. In addition to that plan, we worked with a professional firm like AECOM and others to really advance that plan ultimately into a second plan, the Urban Design Plan 2.0. But these are some of the evolution of the downtown. You can see the 2nd Street there on your screen turned into the piazza that's there before you now, as well as other involvements over the years. You might recognize that first slide there. That's what the train station used to look like. That's what it looks like now. We've got about $11 million invested in this next phase, which was saving it to start with many, many partners to the development and creation of the National Commie Center. And that is truly evidence of what real partnerships can create, particularly in a small city like ours, because it's not just the National Commie Center, but with that, we all got a chance to experience pre-COVID the momentum that was gained in our community as that really took off. For the dollars and cents folks in the room, the 3rd quarter of last year, the city saw its highest revenue generation on sales tax ever in its history. And that really was evidenced by this, the impact of the National Commie Center and other ancillary growth that's taken place as a result of having that in our midst. And I am ever hopeful that it's open, it's safe, laugh safe. And I'm sure those of you around the city have seen the people that are already here in our midst, as in their 2s and 3s and 6s. You see them walking around downtown. And as you can tell, I'm kind of trying to move through this because I want to get to the conversation part. And more is evolving, and you're going to see that over the course of the summer with regard to the park. But then we all experienced the impact of the pandemic. And our governor selected the moniker of New York on pause. We didn't pause. And I think that while we were safe and while we took our precautions, while we lived up to the mandates and restrictions that were appropriately placed on us in many cases, the foundation community as a whole did not stop. In fact, it was ramped up dramatically. And again, my compliments to Tori and her leadership and the United Way. I see Amy's here with us as well. Together, this community came together financially and physically and in our commitment. And we saw our way through this. And in my personal opinion, from talking to many, much better than many other locations. But as specifically with regard to the Gebbie Foundation, when COVID was a reality, we really took a look at what we could do to assist the community by contributing to the fund that many foundations and others contributed to for that direct relief. But we also did a deep dive into these assets that had been developed over the last 10, 15 years to be assured we didn't lose those assets. We didn't lose that momentum. At one point in time, we completed a significant analysis for our local restaurants and had put together a draft plan to invest in them just about the time that the state came up with a plan. And we all, experienced that, and we're thankful for that because it enabled us to step back and say, okay, we don't have to do that direct investment to maintain those jobs and restaurants, which are one of the most difficult things to grow in a region. And so we really took a look at how do we help the arena? How do we help the Reg? How do we help the National Commie Center stay vibrant and alive and available so that when the pause was stopped and we were able to get back to work, we were able to do that. We also, at that same time frame, were behind the scenes once again, really taking a look at this Urban Design Plan 2.0 and what it laid out for our guide, our design. And the number one determination from that Urban Design Plan 2.0 was to activate our resource, activate our river, our waterfront that flows right through the city of Jamestown. Now, those of us have been around for a while. If 10 years ago I said we're going to activate our waterfront, I would have been hard pressed to guess what waterfront they were referring to, because I would have think, well, the lake isn't part of the city. How do we get that done? But hopefully you've had a chance to experience that evolution of our waterfront, which is the Chattaquin River, which any city in the States would love to have that sort of resource, to the point where San Antonio built a cement river to run through that city so that they would have waterfront. And those of you who had a chance to visit that wonderful spot can realize what that did for that city. But we have one naturally flowing through our city, and has been for a while. So we began an analysis of how could we collectively impact on the development of the Chattacoin riverfront. The first thing we had to do was determine whether or not the river was navigable or not. And because historically, I'm sure there's many in the room would agree, historically it was always the mantra, Chattacoin cannot be navigated. It's too shallow, too many impediments. And why would you want to do it anyway? Well, thankfully, we have great experts in this region, and Tuan Leenders from RTPI was willing to be engaged to do a significant analysis of the Chattacoin River from a Cray Point all the way down to the Warner Dam. And he did that, and it took him over a year to do it because of the fluctuations in levels and seasons and impacts to the river. But he did it over 1,000 individual measurements and calculations with regard to the river bottom. And I can tell you, and Tuan could tell you in much more specific terms, that yes, it is absolutely navigable. In fact, it's navigable with a height restriction of 6 feet, but within a foot of shore, you're up to 36 inches or deeper. And those of you who are boaters understand the importance of that. There is one small delta next to one of the rivers that needs to be removed, but the other side is open. So even that narrow spot is available. The next question was, okay, so we've got a navigable river, what do we do with it? And how do we determine its capacity? Without doing a thing, it's a first-class paddling destination. And those of you who are kayakers or small craft operators, I can tell you the experts have affirmed it's a first-class paddling experience. The next step is to assure when it is that first-class paddling experience, because I don't know if any of you have tried a kayak back up the river when there's a heavy flow, but there's something called the Narrows. It's going to test you as you navigate that part just beyond the BPU. But it is absolutely navigable. And then we've got that resource. What do we do with it? I'm pleased to tell you that a group of people came together to conduct a business strategy and analysis of the Chattacoin, its capacity, and what needs to take place from it. And it was a true public-private partnership. Here's who had invested in it. We did, the county, the IDA, the Partnership for Economic Growth. The BPU was a major partner. The city of Jamestown, Blackstone Nay, Lawson Boat and Motor Company, and Jim Siriano. And since Jim's not represented by his business, he owns the storage facility, used to be Evans Skateland, right down there. But he too saw the value in investing in this to determine the capacity of this to take place. Now, here's where I'd like you to pause just for a minute. Fire up the imaginations, because lots of times in upstate New York, we have to work so hard for every dollar that we have. We have to work so hard to maintain every dollar. I'm a firm believer that we're coming out of, thankfully, a 50-year economic depression that has really created, in my opinion, a psychological depression in many people. And we struggle so hard, our noses so close to the grindstone, just trying to make that next payroll, trying to make that next invoice, just trying to make that next opportunity. I think we failed to dream. I've got a sign next to my computer, make no small plans, because I think we get caught in that, and that we rarely make plans, much less big ones. And I think this is something that should catch your imagination and be a big plan for those of us who are excited about what's happening in Jamestown. This is an overhead a depiction of what we call the basin. And if you're looking at the screen, the top side of that is the National Comedy Center, and the bottom sign is the BPU and Jim Siriano's property. Right in the center there is the largest width stretch of the Chattacoin River, and that's entitled the Basin. So that's going to kind of put you in perspective of where we're going to have a little bit of a conversation about what's going on in the basin and what can happen in the basin. Next slide is what was been determined by a partnership with a number of great partners, CNS Engineer and the Harrison Studio, amongst all of those people who are investors. And what they did was they were hired to do an in-depth analysis of the river and its capacity. So this is the part where the imagination kicks in, but these are professionals hired to analyze this. And as you can see, in the yellow circle is something called the North Basin. So look on the National Comedy Center side of that expanse right there. And what is projected as potential and capacity between the National Comedy Center and the arena, which, by the way, was a great ad in the paper this weekend on that. You'll see an expanse of green. That's property owned by the railroad, but the National Comedy Center has a long-term lease that they were able to make with that property, adjacent to the railroad there, adjacent to their patio. If you haven't been out in their patio, it's a beautiful spot to be. What's depicted for that spot? Well, what's depicted for that spot is that is and as I had a conversation with Dennis Drew the other day, the 10,000 Maniacs 40th anniversary is this fall. He and Steve Gustafson were in my office talking with Andrea and I, and they said without hesitation that area right there is perfect for a festival. And so we play a dozen of these a year, and none of them are any better than this location we have right here in Jamestown, right behind the National Comedy Center, right next to our river. And so we're working with them to help realize that dream, but not only an excellent place for an outdoor performance venue, but also an opportunity to have people have access to the river itself, the potential for what's been called signature gardens, and an opportunity, but you can see where that star is. Here's a depiction of what those festivals, the people, the location could look like. Again, using that forward-thinking imagination as you have. We already have somebody that wants to do yoga in the park. Those of you who are yoga folks, that wouldn't be my first choice, but hallelujah, there are those. But the idea that you can do much more with that space than has been imagined to date is clearly within our reach and in part of this plan and will be executed as we go forward. Also, there's an opportunity for in the lower part of that, those of you who are familiar with the river walk, you know, there's on the upstream pedestrian bridge, there's a nice little area that needs to be developed. The opportunity for a signature garden to be developed there so people could enjoy it individually, enjoy it as a place for events and opportunities. You see a picture of a wedding there or photos, or just an opportunity to enjoy that area next to the river. That's another spot. But in addition to that, there's opportunities for food trucks. There's opportunities for a variety of other activities, just activating what already exists. That's without significant. Then you take a look at the South Basin, and that's where in the works right now, working in partnership with the city, kayak launches. We have the opportunity for a bit of a welcome center there. I'll tell you why that's going to be important in a minute. We have opportunity for watercraft to dock up against the shore there. And then ultimately, when the opportunities present itself, working in partnership with the BPU, years ago, a study was done on what it would take to move the BPU from its location to another location in the city. It's an expensive proposition. While the plant itself can't be moved, the property adjacent to it can. And when AECOM was in town here 4 years ago, I guess now, looking at that space, the South American trained architect stood there looking at that space and pointed across the water and said, "What's that?" I said, "Well, that's just a recently completed warehouse for the BPU." And he said, "Well, that's got to change." And he could say that boldly, not coming from here. But what he was saying was, when you have a first-class waterfront like that, you know, having a warehouse on it probably isn't the highest and best use. And that's no offense to the BPU. It was a great use for that space at the time. But life changes and we change. In addition to the Riverwalk storage building, you know, Jim has a great business there, but that could be somewhere else, and that space could be something so much more for us and for our region if you can envision the conference center or something along those lines that adds activity to the riverfront as well. So those are some of the opportunities for that South Basin. But I'll note that I said that we might need a welcome center there because the analysis that we've done has also indicated that a significant addition to the river would be a water taxi. I've already had some people apply for the job of captain of the water taxi, and Andrea is not retiring solely for that purpose. But for years, she has promoted the idea that we ought to have a means of moving people from that Celeron area in the South Basin or the southern part of Chautauqua Lake down into our city. And CNS engineers and others have identified that not only is it possible, but it's practical. And it can be done even with a solar powered water taxi that they've presented as a potential opportunity for us. Having a first class marina on that stretch between McRae and the water or the basin also adds access and opportunity for us with the Lawson Boat Marina there. But that, and then as it was dock, having a place for people as they get off that water taxi to understand what's possible right there in adjacent to the basin is another thing. Again, the South Basin is a paddling hub, opportunities for that. It's also an ecological area. We're working closely with RTPI to help Roger's birthplace, an area where he honed his interest and inquisitiveness with regard to the natural world. How can we incorporate that into Panzarella Park in particular? We also want to make sure it's safe. So we've identified that a safety boom can go in below the lowest or the downstream pedestrian bridge. And in combination with that, an opportunity to collect any debris coming down the lake or down the river and remove it, because I received a number of calls from folks when I was with the county from the river keepers downstream, asking when we were going to stop our trash from ending up as their responsibility. And those are available, and I have great confidence that's going to happen in short order. And here's where I think ties all this together, is that using the technology that's available to us, proven technology, there is an opportunity for us to develop an interactive mobile app that using GPS can operate right off our phones, that can be designed to provide virtual tours, guided tours as you start coming down out of the river and you go through that natural world of that first half of that run down the Chattacoin, where it is absolutely a friend of mine who has done a great deal of travel around the world said that it is world class as far as a natural area to go through. And then once you get to McRae Point, then you have a very interesting, it'll become more interesting, urban experience right down to the basin. But can you imagine paddling along? You have a headphone in one ear so you can still be aware of what's going on, but you're listening as you approach, and you've got a natural area where the spiny-shelled turtles are up sunning themselves, or where you've got our osprey nests, or you've got a unique foliage or other things that you can observe. And then as you approach the basin, you're aware that if you've got a problem with the boat or you want to rent a kayak, Lawson Marina will rent you a kayak or a paddleboard or a paddle bike if you want to. And you come down further down through there, and as you're approaching into the city, you're aware that the BPU has been in existence for X number of years. Oh, you might want to stop, because right there on the edge of the basin is a log that's been harvested out of the basin from the late 1800s. It was part of our history of the logging industry that led to our furniture industry, on display there, along with an opportunity for you to learn more about the history of Jamestown. And oh, by the way, Jerry Seinfeld's playing at the National Comedy Center later that week. And oh, by the way, Forte has a special of a beer and a steak at the bar for $25. All of that is possible. And I say some of that in jest, but truly there's an opportunity for a commercial application there as well, all driven through your phone. And that's whether you're paddling on the river, or whether you're hiking the river on the river walk, or whether you're in the city itself and have access to that app to help you know what's going on. Those are some of the things that we're working on specifically. And hopefully those of us who've been around for a while can envision that river, particularly behind the train station, 12-foot high overgrowth, unfortunately, criminal activity, garbage, no reason to be down there. And the evolution in a very short period of time to something we're talking about, encouraging people and drawing some great value to our city through the use of our waterfront, amongst many other things. So I know we're pressed for time, but I want to kind of push quickly through that. And then I'm happy to stay here and answer questions here or with you individually afterwards. So I'm open to questions. I'll look to our president on timing. You just give me the part. Yeah. Yeah. No, that's going to be part of what we're working with RTPI on. trying to really capture the opportunity people have to experience this natural world right in the city. And if you haven't had the chance, it's worth every moment and whatever it would cost to be down there with Tuan, to have him describe the volumes of birds that fly along that river every year back and forth. And then he'll go into great detail about the unique birds and opportunities that are nesting right in our city that were likely things that really stimulated Roger Tory Peterson's imagination as a kid, because between there and the 100-acre park areas where he really began his interest. So it will have a natural world focus, Panzarella Park, and it's going to, with Tuan in the lead, I'm certain we're going to see something significant there.
Yeah, I see that basin schematic you had, and it looks like there's a crossway over the tracks to get down there. I don't, and then of course you can probably approach them down where the skating rinks can get up there. Are we going to be able to make provision for lots of parking? That's what I didn't see.
Yep, that's part of the analysis we're doing right now. In fact, there were some professionals in town early last week taking a look at the opportunities, and it is a problem I am anxious for, to be in a situation where we have to find ways for people to find convenient parking, but it is part of the long-term analysis on assuring ourselves of when opportunities present them to acquire a parcel so that it can be used for that purpose, even transitionally. You know, if there's a parcel that's not the highest and best use, but it can be acquired and at least initially be used for that parking as we find other opportunities for it, yes, it's part of the plan. I'm gonna stick around because there's many other pieces to that puzzle. There's many other things that we do as a foundation in and amongst the city of Jamestown, but I appreciate the opportunity to have this conversation with you.
Thank you, Greg. We appreciate that. One of Rotary's major international programs is to eradicate polio in our world, and we're down to just 2 countries in the world that have any polio, native polio. So in honor and thanks for your presentation to our club today, we're making a donation in your name that will vaccinate 4 children. You're welcome. Next week, our speaker, I think, next week is going to be a natural surprise. Kevin will tell you about it next week because I am heading out of town. So this will be my last meeting with you until the presidential, when I hand over the gavel happily to Kevin. So I'll get something in an email to you about signing up for the presidential dinner, and you're all adults and you'll all sign up, okay? Fabulous. We are adjourned. Remember, Rotary opens opportunities. Okay, where did it go? I lose my arrow.
We could talk Friday.
We did?
I said we can talk Friday.
Oh, yeah. What is it?
But at the board meeting, we need to discuss. Did you say you were going to add money onto the tickets for lunch or dinner meeting?
The tickets will be $60.
But is that
30 of it goes to RCJCSA? They can all pass through Rotary.
Okay, is that how we're going to do it?
And then we'll write a check on RCJCSA.
Okay, because then I'll need a list of people want it as a donation.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You did it?
Yep. Yes, just magic. Something. That's the eyeball.
Take this one.
I haven't had a chance to even say congratulations on your new position, your new, oh, really? The new whatever.
Well, I thought I said shift too, but it didn't end up working that way. Told me.